Okay, well, just to be respectful of time, we'll go ahead and get started. I just want to introduce myself. My name's Jared Weston. I'm with GradLeaders Athletics. I just want to thank you for joining us for today's employer info session featuring our friends at Gallagher. Before I hand the stage over to Mallory and her team, I want to encourage you to submit any questions via chat, and we'll address those at the end of the presentation, or I may interrupt Mallory or Lily or Zach and just pose the question if it's pertinent to the immediate conversation. But without further ado, Mallory, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you, Jared, and excited to be here talking with grad leaders and just sharing a little bit more about Gallagher and hopefully provide some good tips if you're still in the search for an internship. So the title's kind of funny, How Did I Get Here? And that I think stems from, I hear a lot of different sentiments from people of, I didn't think I was going to end up in insurance. And that's kind of how they start, and then they, explain their journey. So that's kind of the theme that we're taking here today. But of course, what our goal is to just provide more knowledge on Gallagher itself, the internship opportunity, and then also you'll get to hear from our two guest speakers, Lily and Zach, who were former student athletes themselves, and now current Gallagher employees. So with that, here's a quick little agenda. We'll go over intros really quickly, get into the get to know Gallagher section, and then we'll pull up some panelist questions that I'll have for Lily and Zach. Okay, so really quick, I can kick us off since I'm already talking. My name is Mallory Rasmussen. I am the Early Talent Relationship Manager for the West Region. So I sit in Denver, Colorado. This storm that everyone's talking about, we already got like 6 inches. So my dog loves it. We're excited. It's good skiing weather. But I get to work with all of the different branches in our West Region. So Colorado all the way out to California, Washington, etc. I am a former Gopher, University of Minnesota. As you can see there, I was not an athlete, but I do enjoy my Peloton rides, Jess Sims, Cody Rigsby, if we got any fans out there. So that's a little bit about me. But now I will kick it over to Lily, if you want to do a quick intro of yourself, Lily.
Yeah, of course. Hi, my name is Lily Chetosky, and I'm from Chicago, Illinois, and I played 4 years at Valparaiso University on the women's soccer team. And I was also involved with the Student Athletic Advising Committee, SAC, if you're involved with that. And I found Gallagher when I was a sophomore at a career fair at the university, and I was a double year intern, so 16 and 17. And then when I graduated in 2018, I joined full time, and I've been with RPS ever since.
Thanks, Lily. Zach, if you want to give a quick intro of yourself.
I'm Zack Vigil. I graduated Utah State in 2014, I think, did 4 years there, played football. After that, I went on to play professional football for 4 years. And then when I was done playing pro, I took a year off. Well, I should back up for how I got to Gallagher. So I think it was my second or third season. I have horses and I help out a bunch of ranchers and stuff with my horse in the off season. And so I was up at a guy named John Schlichty's house, and he had recently sold his insurance company to Gallagher. And he said, hey, when you're done playing football, I may have an opportunity for you I think you'd really like. And he and I kind of hit it off. And so, I always kind of had that in the back of my mind. So anyways, I played 4 years when I'm done. And then, I took a year off. I love to hunt. So I took a year off, just basically went hunting. And then I called John up and said, I'm ready to get going in this business. Before I started, I went on some meetings with him, with some of his clients. And that's kind of what got me hooked. I like people. I like working with people and good people and surrounding yourself. And the nice thing about insurance, you kind of get to decide the kind of people you get to work with. And so, yeah, I've been doing it going on year 3 now.
Awesome. Thank you, Zach. Sounds like a fun gap year there. Just kind of enjoying nature, hunting.
Yeah, a lot of hunting, a lot of riding. I still do a lot of that, but not to the extent of the 1 year I had off, which was awesome.
Yeah, I bet. Awesome. Well, thank you to you both for giving those intros. And now I think we're gonna jump in, to more of like the Gallagher background part of the info session. So I know we have one person on the line here today. If you're comfortable chatting in, using the chat box, feel free. But maybe if you can share one thing that you're hoping to learn about Gallagher today, we can even make it more broad of the insurance industry, a professional development tip, how to get an internship, life after college. We'll keep it broad, but if you have something to share, feel free to drop that in the chat box. Awesome. So we'll give you time to throw that in there if you have something. But really quick, so I really love this graphic, and I think I love it because I do not sit in the position that Lily and Zack do. I am on the HR side, so I think this is a really nice way to kind of explain at a 10,000 foot level, what Gallagher is, what we do, where we sit within the insurance industry. So you'll see Gallagher there in the middle, kind of in between both what we have as our clients and then our carriers, so insurance carriers. And you might recognize some of these logos here. You see Blue Cross Blue Shield, Travelers, Liberty Mutual. We like to say anyone with those big flashy commercials, you'll likely recognize those as the insurance carriers. So what we actually do as an insurance broker is we're buying those insurance plans, those programs from those different carriers and adding value to the clients that come to Gallagher. So those clients that you see there on the left, Cubs, Chipotle, RX Bar, the list is on and on and on. They look to Gallagher to really be the subject matter expert that's actually providing value in telling them what programs or plans to put in place to protect their business or protect their employees. So again, that's my description. Lily and Zack, please jump in with your own explanation, because I know that is very high level. So if you have anything to add, Lily or Zack, otherwise that's kind of where we sit within the insurance industry.
You see a lot of these. I think this is what's cool about Gallagher is you can kind of throw some of these names around, and sometimes that's powerful and sometimes it's not. And that's what I think is interesting about insurance is, for example, you could walk in here in Utah where I am, we have Gallagher handles the biggest construction outfits in the state, hands down. And what's interesting is you can go into a prospect or a client and say that, but at the end of the day, it's can you take care of that person's needs? And that's what I think is really cool about insurance. And my construction clients, they think it's awesome that Gallagher has this, we're capable of doing these things and working with these huge clients, but it comes down to still a person-to-person relationship and managing that account. Just because somebody in Gallagher writes the biggest construction company in Utah doesn't mean that I necessarily have that knowledge, but I can access that knowledge if I simply reach out.
Yeah, thank you, Zack. That's a really good point. Cool. Okay, so we can always circle back to this if you have questions later on this. But as Zack was explaining how he partners with all the construction companies in Utah, actually it was a really good segue to this slide. Everyone needs insurance, right? So you can think of all the different industries, all the different businesses out there. They all need insurance to operate. Our CEO, I think one of his favorite slogans is insurance is the oxygen of, I don't know if it's the business world or just the world in general, but that's a pretty hefty analogy and also, I think, pretty true if you think about it. So, Zack was saying he works a lot with the construction companies. There's so many more you can think of: healthcare industries, religious, nonprofit, higher education, financial. Did I say nonprofit already? The list goes on and on and on. So really, as to Zack's point as well, if you like building relationships, if you like meeting new people and developing client relationships, this is a really fun and interesting industry to get into because you have so many open doors to all these different opportunities. All right, so if anything to add from Lily, Zach, otherwise we're going to kind of jump into the panelist questions that I have created for this part of the presentation. So let's get on with it. All right, first question. This is for Lily and Zach. Can you detail your career path so far? Did you have any unexpected twists along the way?
Yeah, I can start. So when I first found Gallagher, as I said, it was at a career fair, and I was a sophomore, and at the time I was an accounting major, and I was studying accounting because I thought that that was like going to be a really good career path, which it is. But I found Gallagher and they said insurance, and my eyes kind of like glazed over because I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to sell life insurance. That sounds horrible. And then, after hearing more and more about what Gallagher had to offer and the actual job that they do hire out, that's when I decided to end up changing my major I studied finance, so it was something really similar. But so that was kind of an unexpected twist for me because I always saw myself as either like a CPA one day, or I guess I didn't really have a clear cut idea of what I was going to do. But after my first year at Gallagher, I got to do all the different types of insurance. And then for my second year, I fell in love with wholesale medical malpractice, which is kind of a really unique sector of the insurance industry. So I guess for me, and then I've been doing wholesale medical malpractice ever since. So for me, I think the biggest like unexpected twist was going from college and then kind of that idea of what post-college was going to be like to here I am 4 years later in working as a wholesale broker. I never really thought I would be here, but I love the company, and I've really grateful for the opportunity that I've had.
Thanks, Lily. And Zach, I know you kind of already explained your twists and turns that led you to Gallagher. I don't know if you have anything else to add.
No, I mean, I think you kind of, when you started off today, you mentioned like nobody really grows up thinking, oh, I'm going to get into insurance when I grow up. And so for me, like my life was football for a really, really long time. And to think that I'd end up in insurance is still blows me away. One thing that was a little unexpected, I didn't know how much you really have to know in order to speak intelligently to clients. Like there's stuff you have to know every day, and things are always changing, laws are always changing. So I think that's a challenge when it comes to, I do PNC stuff, and I think that's a challenge that I didn't necessarily expect. I mean, you can be the best people person in the world, but if you don't know what you're talking about, people will see right through that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good point. I feel like within this industry, you're always learning. As you said, things change. Even if we look back, 10, 15, 20 years, laws, businesses, I mean, cyber now even is like a hot topic. Like there's all new insurance coverages for just cyber security alone. So
since COVID, being in like the medical malpractice industry, it was really cool because I was able to do 2 years before the pandemic and then 2 years now in the pandemic, and really seeing how just doctors practice medicine differently today, and how insurance carriers weren't able to underwrite COVID risks. It was really cool because I feel like so many people around me at Valpo, they studied nursing and everything in PA. So there's so many healthcare people in my life. And for me to have like the smallest smidges role in the healthcare industry on the business side has really been cool. And I've learned something new every day. It's really an interesting place to be.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point too, of like, maybe if you saw yourself going down like the medical path, medical sciences path, and, this is kind of a nice alternative of like, you still get the look into it, but you're on the business side. You don't have, I guess, all the crazy hours of a PA or a doctor.
No blood and guts.
Yeah, and that too. Awesome. All right. I guess, and these two kind of go hand in hand. Why did you choose this job when coming from a sports background?
I can start on this one.
Go ahead.
I think that the type of sales job that this takes, the type of sales job it is for insurance, I think pertains a lot to student athletes. Lily, you know this, like as a student athlete, your schedule is very regimented. You have to be very regimented. You have to know what to do as far as diet, exercise, wake up, go to class, take care of a million different things all the time are going on in your mind. And that's, if you can manage those skills, that helps you in this industry, in my opinion. And obviously people that excel in as a collegiate athlete or even a high level high school athlete, those people have a different mindset than average people. And so they're able to, I think, have more self-drive and strive to be successful no matter what they're doing.
Yeah, I would totally agree. I mean, Zach, that's pretty awesome that you played pro. I'm jealous over here. I feel honored to be on a call. But for me, I think the biggest thing that I took away from playing college sports to my career today is the thick skin that I gained. I think all of us athletes have played for coaches that just are relentless. And there's a lot of people in the industry. I mean, in sales in general, you hear no, 8 times, you hear yes twice. And so it's every time that you hear no, it's, for me, I've learned that that's like not a setback, that's just reality. And all the people on my team, almost all of them played collegiate sports, and we all have the same mindset of just the thick skin mentality. And Zach, do you agree with that one?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, you're lucky out of 10 calls, you're lucky if you get told yes one time. You're honestly lucky. So you got to have thick skin. And yeah, we've all had coaches that were just awful people.
Yeah. Some that were really great.
I have a question. So I want to ask you guys, like, how do you feel coming from like sport fields to the working professional? Like, how is the transition looks like for you guys?
I think for me, like I said, like for football anyways, like everything was scheduled out for me. The big difference for me is with this job, you have to make your own schedule and you have to give yourself your own goals every single day when you get up. Like there's not a coach sitting over your shoulder or your strength coach or your diet coach or whoever it is that's going to hold you accountable necessarily. Yeah, you have your boss you have to report to quarterly or whatever it is, but you have to take that accountability on yourself when you get up in the morning. And so I think that's the big transition, and some people can struggle with that, is not having any guidance that's written on a paper of this is what you do at 9 o'clock, and this is what you do at 11 o'clock, and this is what you do at 1 o'clock, and so on and so forth. So that's a challenge, I think, for anybody.
Mm-hmm. My biggest challenge from transitioning was probably the amount of hours that I think just adults sit a day. Like I didn't realize that like you just sit for majority of the day. And, as a student athlete, I was used to going to lifting, then running and practice and class and everything. So for me, it's like finding little opportunities throughout the day to either go for walks or, now working from home, you can work out during the day. So that was my biggest struggle.
And I think right now Jared is standing, correct me if I'm wrong, but standing desks.
I need one.
It'll change your life.
Yeah, but then I find myself, I'm like standing for 6 minutes. I'm like, that's enough of that.
Yeah. Or you're in like cute shoes and you're like, gosh, I can't stand in these all day.
Yeah. The balance. But those are both really good. I think that's really good feedback from both Zach and Lily. So thank you. Did that help answer?
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Great. I think we actually, we have a question similar to that. Yes, this is it. Kind of what we just said. What skills have you developed through being an athlete that now translate into your role? I guess we kind of just touched on like the opposite of like what isn't there. do you feel that you took away skills from like being an athlete that now translate into your current position?
For me, it would still be the thick skin.
Thick skin.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's just self-motivation for me. Like you have that no matter what.
Yeah, awesome. And that we also talked about. All right, last one, I believe. What are some common misconceptions people have about insurance? How do you feel we can combat these and communicate more effectively?
One thing that we talk about a lot in our office is when you think of insurance, you typically think of old people sitting around a desk, old CFOs and CEOs sitting around a desk, managing these companies. I feel like there's a big wave of youth coming into a lot of industry, especially in our area, of the sons or just younger personnel are moving into those roles. So like for a young person like me to go connect with a younger CEO or CFO is a lot easier than it is for me to connect with somebody who's 60, 70 years old. And that goes back, I think that's a misconception I found. Like a lot of these people that I'm working with now are, in their 40s, and that's not that much older than me, really. We have a lot of common interest, and the age gap's not as crazy as it used to be, I think.
Yeah, that I would agree with the age. Or the, like how I said, I thought that they were trying to sell me like life insurance, like kind of the typical cold cut insurance salesman, I guess. And that's not my experience at all in the industry, especially being on like the corporate side. Yeah.
But yeah, I think one thing about this special about insurance is one of the really successful guys in our office talks about how long the sales cycle is. So it's not like you're a used car salesman where you're making, 10 sales a day or whatever it is. Like this guy's been doing it for 30 years. He goes, the sales cycle for me, and he writes huge accounts, is 18 to 36 months.
Wow.
And so that's how long it takes to build these relationships and gain trust. And it's not a turn and burn type of thing. It's a long-term investment in time and effort into building these relationships.
Yeah, I think that's good to point out, because I think sometimes, you see, I think especially, and correct me if I'm wrong, but as a student, at least you see all these like flashy tech sales companies, and, those are much more of a quick turnaround, maybe
it's instant gratification as far
right.
Or to delayed gratification.
Right. Yeah, exactly. All right, so time to quickly pause and ask if you have any other questions from the audience.
So I'm majoring in marketing right now. So I'm wondering like how the marketing looks like in the insurance company, because like I'm kind of confused, like what can I do in the insurance company?
I think marketing can pertain to how you market yourself. I mean, we talk about all the time, just getting your name out there, and the more your name's out there, especially when you're young in this industry, is very important, because once you start building clientele, you can work a lot off referrals. But until you get to that point where you can rely on your referrals to feed your pipeline, you're going to have to market yourself and go out and meet people. And if you have those skills and know how to do that successfully, that's a wonderful skill to have.
Yeah, and what I've seen in the industry is there's only like a couple of schools out there that actually have degrees for insurance. So most people that I work with day to day have studied literally anything and everything. So yeah, it would relate in some capacity, I would imagine.
Yeah, I would, going off that too, Lily, just in interviewing intern candidates that I've seen even just this fall, I mean, the breadth of like majors of these students that are majoring in so many different things, like anywhere from psychology, sociology, anything liberal arts related, economics, marketing. I think marketing and sales, they're kind of cut from the same cloth almost. There's a lot of overlap, and in marketing and sales. And I think those skills that you learn in those classes that you have right now for marketing would translate really nicely into like the soft skills that you would be doing in insurance sales.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So the third segment of the presentation is just a little bit more about Gallagher and the internship opportunity that we have out there today. And really quick, and correct me if I'm mispronouncing your name, is it Plobrung?
Yeah, I'm from Thailand, so it's quite hard to pronounce my name, but I go by Ice. Just call me Ice, that's fine.
Ice. Okay, awesome. What year in school are you?
I'm a 5th-year student athlete at Boston College right now, so I'm a grad student right now. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, fantastic. We have had some grad student interns, so there's still opportunity there. This just really quick is high level. On the left there, you'll see some accolades that Gallagher has earned over the 2021 year, and I do need to update these to 2022. That one on the top, we have been awarded this for 2022 as well. This has been an award that we've received over 10 years now, and it's something that I think is at the core of how we run our business. Being the world's most ethical companies and being awarded that by Ethisphere is extremely important to Gallagher and how we present ourselves to our clients. And I would say, you know, Zack and Lily might have some comments on that as well, but to be the only insurance broker in the industry that has this award, I think also says volumes about what we do here at Gallagher. And then also we've been awarded the top 100 internship programs year over year. This one was just from previously in 2021. And then also best places to work for LGBTQ and for diversity as well. So really proud of those awards. I think they speak to our culture here as well, not only at the internship, but across all levels. And then there on the right, we have we've been doing the internship program for over 55 years. So this will be our 57th summer. We started with 2 interns and we are planning to have around 400 interns this summer nationally. So quite a big program. It's kind of neat because you're a part of this big national group of interns, but then you also would have your smaller local group of interns as well. And then we have over 500 plus early talent professionals. Lily, I might group you into that bucket. Early talent kind of ranging from right out of college to a few years in. So. And then this is a slide that I realize very wordy, but ultimately it's created just to kind of show you the 4 different, I guess, pillars that you would be exposed to throughout the internship. So very much an innovative and entrepreneurial environment. You mentioned you're a marketing major. I think that kind of would very much tie into what you're learning and maybe what you're passionate about. As you know, Zack and Lily have mentioned, very much heavy on developing those relationships as they're long-standing relationships that take months and months to kind of cultivate. Within the internship program, there are multiple different training opportunities that you'll not only hear from our executive leaders, but then like people like me, the early talent team, so on and so forth. And then I think another really great aspect is the hands-on learning and actually teaching you the knowledge that you need to know about the insurance industry. Granted, it's within the 9 weeks, and then kind of giving you the reins to say, okay, now you show me what you know. Whether that be through different weekly presentations or the sales competition that we have at the end. Those are some kind of nice ways to showcase what you learned throughout the summer. And then there we just have the different people and culture opportunities. I know this summer we're planning one big community service day during our intern orientation. So that's going to be fun. We'll have all 400 interns participating in a community service day in the greater Chicagoland area. So looking forward to planning that for everyone, and then just also having the opportunity to give back to your communities locally. And then lastly, this is just a really quick slide of how to be a successful intern. I get this question frequently of, what do you look for? What makes an intern a great intern? I think first and foremost, a passion and curiosity for sales. Maybe you didn't think you were going to go into sales, but are you willing to learn? Are you willing to ask questions to different people within your office, your peers, things like that? And I think that, again, really ties to the similarities of being an athlete and how well that ties into sales. You have that competitive spirit already. You have those interpersonal skills, whether it be through your teammates or your professors, your coaches, and hopefully you're proactive in nature and working on those communication skills as well. So those are just some things that I share for how to be a successful intern. Anything to add, Zach, Lily, about those slides that I just skimmed through?
Nope.
Awesome. So that's my spiel. Definitely there's resources here. This little URL will take you to the open internship page with all the different regional applications. These are our program dates down here. And then of course, I'm happy to connect with you as well, as I'm sure Lily and Zach would be as well. But that's the content I have for today.
Well, thank you so much, Mallory, Zach, Lily. Appreciate your time and sharing your experience. ICE, if you're interested in learning more about these opportunities, I will send a copy of the presentation, the slide deck, along with a recording so you can access those links, but also encourage you to connect with Mallory and Zach and Lily on LinkedIn as well. I'm sure they'd be open to that. And there, Mallory's putting her email in there, the chat, so go ahead and grab that. But then lastly, I just don't forget to mark calendars for our next student athlete virtual career and internship fair on February 23rd from 6 to 9 Eastern, where there'll be some other opportunities. But again, just want to take the time to thank you, Mallory, Zach, Lily, for the time tonight and sharing this great opportunity.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jared. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good night.
Thank you too.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Wow.